Hello, welcome back to my channel, and I am on this like watercolor marker kick and I'm loving it, and I'm using Karin Markers for these stamps from Colorado Craft Company, the 3C Company or Colorado Craft Company. This one is Stay Curious, and you can see the cute little illustration on how Anita Jerem would paint it. I'm going to do something a little bit different than that. And then I also have the cute cat one from Colorado Craft. This one is called Watering Can Mini. And you can get them, they're not too expensive. In fact, I like these little stamps because I can kind of make my own little cute scene. And they work really well for cards. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is perfect for little boys and girls and anybody. And if you don't want it to say Stay Curious, you know, put, you know, any kind of sentiment for these I think would work, especially for a spring summery card. A couple of my colors that I will be using, I try to keep it to no more than 7, but I just love them. So, and I'm gonna make it, I'm making a scene out of this, so watch and learn. And if you're new to watercolor, watercolor markers are perfect. If you are not new to watercolor, maybe this is a new technique to try, I don't know, but I'm using cyan, straight cyan. Man, it is quite blue, but we're gonna dull it down. Actually, I might even dull it down with a little bit of this red lilac, just so it's not so blue. It is quite blue. I don't mind it. This is a sky that I just made, and so it gives it a real, I mean, you get a really pretty color to it, but anyways, we'll see. I might, yeah, I like the little bit of that violet will go a long way. It makes it quite a pretty sky. Alright, and I'm going to start up here and work my way down. I always like to start with my sky first. And I always like to try to keep these watercolor cards to about 20 minutes. So we'll see, real time, not sped up time. And this is just a light wash. Most of these watercolor marker cards are mostly called ink and wash. That's a term that if you're new to watercolor or you like watercolor, oftentimes people will refer to ink and wash, where it's just a quick little, you got the ink on, whether you drew it yourself or you stamped it, and now you're coloring it. It's a wash, like what we're doing. And I'm just kind of going back around, seeing where I want to add a little bit more detail, definitely around the cat's head. Okay, feeling good about that. It's a pretty flat wash. There's not anything special or unique about this. Flat washes are not always easy to do, so I'm not trying to make it a flat wash, if that's what you're wondering. I'm just trying to make it look like it's a sunny-ish day. Okay, now I can go into my green. So I would call this more like a variegated wash than anything, but I'm paying attention, and I'm negative painting this. So I'm not painting the animals yet, and when you don't paint the actual subject, that is called negative painting. Yeah. There's probably another term for it, but artists will say, oh yeah, I negative painted that, and that's what that means. Alright, I'm going to start with this lime green, and I might add some lush green, which means I'll make it into 8 colors. But I might be able to get away with using my cyan, which I'm hopeful. But we're going to start with just this lime green. I think lime green will work. work just fine for what we're doing. And then I'll add some of that blue on top of it, and it'll make it not so yellowy. Now if you wanted to, you could probably color with this. Like I could just take my marker and color around it. I'm not going to right now because I always feel like less is more when it comes to watercolor, and I would rather start with less than more. Alright, so I'm keeping my brush on the paper. This does a couple things. You don't see the brush strokes as much, and it's just a good habit to get into. My art teacher, Alexis Levine, has mentioned how she likes to think of my brush as a figure skating on ice. You almost never let go of the brush until you're, you know, ready to do a flip and be done. So that's kind of my mentality. All right, so I want to change this green and blue. I want a nice little transition between the two. So I'm going to add some of that blue into the green, and I think we're going to be, I'm going to tone it down with just a tiny bit of this brown. I think that's going to make it look so it's not so, like, I just love mixing greens. I can mix greens all day, but I'm just going to blend it together so it looks like something's in the distance, maybe. I don't know, but that's my hope. Okay, there's that. Now let's do the other side. And then down here, because the dog's digging, it's gonna be brown. Except for this is looking way too flat, so let's add just a little bit of green. It'll dry pretty light, so you're not gonna see, but I just don't think it needs to be flat, a flat yellowy green. And I might add some more, but let's go on to the brown. I feel like backgrounds can make or break a painting or any kind of project. And if you have the background figured out first, then half your problem is taken care of. Alright, so that copper brown is what I'm using. I'm just going to add a whole bunch, and then I'm going to add some of this green to it, because browns are never just brown. There's greenish browns, reddish browns. You get the idea. Okay. And it does not have to be a perfect, like I am not spending hardly any time messing around with the lines. I don't want it to be messy, but I'm not sitting here looking super close. Watercolor is perfect for stuff like that. Alright, now I'm going to take some more of that green, and I'm just going to transition that green to the brown. Stop where... Alright, now I can go back up to the cat, because the sky should be about done. I'm going to clean off my blendable palette. You can totally laminate just a piece of paper. Alright, now the cat is going to be gray, and maybe the yellow ochre, but it might actually, I kind of like the brownish. So we'll probably go with copper and gray. Definitely going with gray. And copper is undecided, but my thought is I want the kitty cat to be mostly gray. And I used a cool gray because the sky is cool. He's so cute. Yeah, I'm just gonna use, he's just gonna be a gray, cute kitty cat. Alright, so pretty flat wash here. Nothing, I didn't do anything. I just picked up some ink and painted it. It's really light, but to get some more definition, I'm gonna take my brush I'm going to add some shadow there. And I think I'm going to continue that shadow over here. And I love how the paint just kind of whooshes out. I'm going to do some shadows over here. I'm going to leave the ears alone. But I'm liking that. Alright. And then I'll do that. And I didn't do the tail. So I'll just add some dark right there and then just blend it out. Blend the end. There. And it blended too well, so I'm going to add a little bit more in and it'll just kind of dry the way it's supposed to. I'm loving that. Okay, for the watering can, I can never remember what color I want it to be. Sometimes I want it to be more like the background and sometimes I want it to be something different. So I'm going to wait on the watering can and I'm going to work on this until I know what color I want. However, there is a whole lot of, I need some texture down here. So I'm just going to very lightly splatter the brown onto the dirt. That'll give it some texture that I want. And then I can go in and just kind of move around any splatters that I don't want. And add a little bit more. I just want the dirt to not be a flat brown. Okay. For the dog, I'm thinking yellow and purple. A purple pot, yellowish dog. So, I got my yellow ochre, which is probably my favorite yellow. If you don't have a raw sienna or a yellow ochre marker, a yellow ochre is like a neutral yellow. I highly recommend getting one because I use it all the time. In fact, you could probably look and see that I probably am going to need more ink or replace my yellow ochre marker, but not yet. It's halfway gone. And these markers last for a long time. Woohoo, look at that. That's a pretty yellow. Okay, I don't want it to stay yellow. That would not work. But I'm thinking like a, I don't know. I always think of a golden retriever and I know that that's probably not right. But I do want to keep it yellow and it's just a light wet onto wet thing. And then what I'm going to do is while it's still wet, I'm going to do exactly what I did to the cat, just to give it some more definition. There, I think that'll work. But I think I'm also going to need to do that. Okay. Ooh, that's looking really pretty. I'm loving it. All right, now to the pot. I'm going to use Skin. It's a nice pinky, neutral pink color. I'm going to use it straight on to here. I use a lot of this pink ink, probably more so than any other color. The Skin, I fell in love with this Skin color. I know you can buy these individually or you can buy them like in sets, and I think I bought them individually, but now I think you can get them as a set. So I'm using a pink. It's not going to say pink, but I want some pink for when I put on the purple. And yes, it looks like I'm outlining it. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, she's ruining it. I'm not ruining it yet. Trust me, I'll tell you when I ruin it. You'll know if I ruin it. Oh no, I messed it up. But you should be able to just get a nice blend, which I did, which is exactly what I want. And when I kind of, wherever I want my highlight to be, that's where it's going to be, which is in the middle. The sun is coming like right at the pot. Okay, now because it's super pink and it's still a little wet, I think the hardest part is knowing how much water to use, and that takes time. I always say More water, like a tea consistency, like you don't want it to be super light, but you don't want it to be buttery, milky, you know, thick. Now I'm going to take my red lilac. So it's just, you can see that it's just a little bit glossy, right? It's not dripping or anything. That's about where you want it to be. I'm going to start here because the back is where the shadow is, and that can basically just, but then the fun thing is I can just go right in here and make it dark. Now I could, if I wanted to, and I might, I just want to do a small line like that right there. There. I really like that. I'm going to use my clean brush, my damp clean brush, so there's not much water on it. That's why I like my towel, is because I can just kind of clean up my brush and not have to worry about a paintbrush in my hand. There, I really like that. Now I just have to do the this guy, the watering can, and I keep looking at my picture and I keep thinking, okay, I either want it to be like a yellow color, which it could work, but I think I'm gonna do almost a little bit darker and go with just like a, almost like this color, but much lighter. I have a green watering can too, and I always toss up the idea of doing teal, but I'm going to keep the daisy pretty much white. But I'm going to get it wet, and I don't even think I'm just going to get this can wet, and I think I lied, I'm going to do teal. There, it looks like you colored it really well. Yeah. And I'll probably go in with a little bit of gray. Now that I got my ink kind of where I want it to be, I can start just moving it around lightly and gently. So like right here, and then I'm going to clean my brush. And then just with a almost clean brush, I'm just going to add a little bit of light blue up there. Not very much. Okay. I'm calling this card done. You could even sign your name to it because this was basically your creation. And then I would call it done. I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit so you can kind of see it. There, isn't that adorable? Who wouldn't want that? Now, gray and black are hard, so now that it's dried a little bit, I can go back in and just kind of add a little bit of the darks. I always like to do that last. And I think his arm should be in the front, so his face should be towards the back. So I'm going to just shade it, and then I'm going to go back in and blend it a little bit. But it is hard with grays, so take your time with grays. Grays are not always easy to shade. Blacks and grays are hard, but you just, you know, fiddle faddle a little bit and you got a really cool piece of, yeah. This is a dry brush, by the way. I'm just kind of, I'm blending that line. And now I'm to the point where I need more water, so I'm gonna clean my brush, got a little bit of water on it. And I just wanted very much I think that's going to be good. I'm afraid that if I mess with it too much, I'm going to get it too dark. But there you go. That's how you watercolor with markers. I hope this helps. I hope you give it a try. We used 7 markers. Yeah. So not too bad for a fun little card. And yeah, let me know in the comments below if you have tried watercolor markers before. I'd love to know your experience. And if you have questions, ask, because I look at my YouTube channel and my Facebook posts often. And I'm hope to see you soon and see some of the creations you've made. Thanks so much. Talk to you later.